everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Turnips to Tangerines, and today we are going to be making a hearty cabbage hamburger soup using farm fresh vegetables and a few canned items also. And first thing we're going to use, I guess, or not the first thing we're going to use, but we're going to be using some baby red potatoes, and we're going to be peeling these and cubing them and putting them in the soup. And then back here we have our rutabaga, a great big one that we are going to be peeling. Well, first of all, we're going to wash it because it's still dirty on the bottom. We're going to wash it, we are going to peel it, and then we're going to cube that and use as much as we want. I don't know if we're going to be needing that whole big old rutabaga, but if we do, we do. And then I have a couple of green peppers, some farm fresh green peppers. I don't know if green peppers were a big hit this year, but every time I go to the farm market, they seem to have just a ton of them, and they're still only 50 cents. So, and this is how nice and big they are. Some of them are even bigger than that. Another thing I noticed they have an abundance at the farm market this year are tomatoes. I don't know if there was like a bumper crop of tomatoes this year, but you can buy a big box of tomatoes that they're selling at Wagner's farm market in Black Creek. They're selling a big box of tomatoes. I think it's for $18, and some of those tomatoes, I swear, are just huge. And, you know, if you can your own sauce or, you know, tomatoes or juice, hey, get there and buy a box. You can't go wrong with that. And then we're going to add a few cloves of fresh garlic and a couple of fresh carrots. These are so big, I'll probably just use both of them. Two of them, maybe just 1.5. A big yellow onion. And then back here we have our big old head of cabbage. I mean, this baby is just here. Oh, huge. This is the big kraut cabbage that they sell there that I was talking to you about a while ago, or a couple segments ago. And I can tell you, this baby, I can barely lift it. That's how heavy it is. So we're not going to use this whole thing. We'll probably use maybe half, maybe a quarter, but maybe half for sure. And we'll chop that up and add that to our soup. Ooh, that's heavy. Wow. And then we're going to use 2 pounds of ground hamburger or ground burger, whatever. And right now they're thawing out nicely and they're getting there. And I'm going to use about 2 pounds. Maybe if I have a little package in my freezer, maybe a little bit more. And we're going to add a can of cannelli beans, and we might add another can depending, but you know, I don't want it to be a chili or anything like that, but I do like cannelli beans, and that's all cannelli beans are really, is white kidney beans, as it says on there. And I mean, they taste just like the red ones to me. But and then we're going to add a can of crushed tomatoes, and this particular can happens to have basil in it, which is fine. With a soup this size, you're not going to really tell the difference, but that's a 28-ounce can. And then we are going to add 2 14-ounce cans or 1 28-ounce can of stewed tomatoes. And I love stewed tomatoes. I mean, I used to use a lot of these when I was younger, and I'd make Swiss steak and different things like that. I don't seem to use them as much as I used to. I don't know why, but I always like Swiss or stewed tomatoes. So, but I haven't had, now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't had Swiss steak in a very long time, and I might have to make that. And we have the 2 14.5-ounce cans of College Inn chicken broth. You can use beef broth, you can use vegetable broth, you can use a mixture of all of them if you happen to have a few, you know, half cartons in your, you know, refrigerator that you made like a sauce with or something with, and you happen to have that left in your refrigerator. Use that. You can use water. Use whatever you want. I usually, for something like this, I would have used the vegetable broth, but I didn't have any. In fact, I only had the chicken. I thought I had beef, but I didn't have that either. So, and then I'm just going to use a little bit of seasoning. I'm going to use a little bit of tarragon, a little bit of salt and pepper. And then I'm going to, if you were watching, or if you have watched any of my, the Wisconsin series, I did do a segment on TNT wild rice. From Eagle River, I do believe, Wisconsin. The last one I used, I think I stuffed some green peppers with, and I used, I think it was called the Lumberjack blend. And this happens to be the Gala Garden rice blend, and I thought this would be perfect for soup of any kind. And I'm only going to add about a cup of this because it has all this other stuff in it, and I'm using all these other ingredients also. I didn't want to make it, you know, too thick, I guess would be the right word. But in this package, it contains white rice, wild rice, dried vegetable blends of carrots, onions, tomatoes, peas, celery, green pepper, green beans, and parsley. So I'm going to add about a half a package of this to the soup. And like I mentioned on my segment for the Wisconsin series that I did on the TNT wild rice, you know, the TNT, dynamite, yeah, that one. I don't know if you watched that segment, but anyway, you could just easily just make this if you wanted to make just a vegetable soup. You could just add this to maybe a big container of vegetable broth, maybe 2 containers of vegetable broth, and maybe 1 water, and make yourself just a nice, you know, very nice and light soup, just using this and some vegetable broth. Or if you wanted to, you could use this with a little bit of vegetable broth, and you, towards the end of the cooking time, you could add just a little cream into it, some heavy cream, and make, or even evaporated milk, which I usually always have on hand, and make just a nice creamed soup. I know many times here, especially where I live, I can't always get out in the dead of winter when we've had a bad blizzard or something like that. And they plow my road, which is down a ways, but they don't, they plow the main road, but not my road. I live on like a dead end, so we have to do all our own plowing or hire someone. So anyway, I don't always get out right away, so this would be wonderful to have in my cupboard stored for one of those days when we get a bad snowstorm and I have like nothing to eat in the house. This would be perfect. I could eat this all week and I'd be fine. And it's like I said, it's all you need is vegetable broth. You wouldn't even need to use that. So let's move on from that. But that's a good idea. I looked this up. This was, I think, only like $6.99 for this, $7.99. And I really like this product. So there's another plug for TNT Dynamite. Okay, that's enough of that, Lynn. Alrighty, so if you want to watch me get going here in the kitchen and start browning up my hamburger and start cooking all my vegetables, come and follow me into the kitchen and we'll get started. I peeled and I washed, peeled, and chopped most of my vegetables that I'm going to add to the soup here, to my big pot of soup, or my big soup pot here. And this baby is a big one. And to my pot here, my big soup pot, I added my carrots, green pepper, rutabaga, onion, some garlic is in here somewhere. At the bottom, I think, there are my onions. And, I think that's it for right now. Rutabaga, onion, carrot, green pepper, oh, and garlic. I think that's all that's in here. And now I am going to add my canned items, or my canned ingredients, and I'm going to add 2 cans of the stewed tomatoes. And there's 1 can. And there is the other can. And then I am going to add my big can of crushed tomatoes, and it happens to have the basil in it, which is just fine. And I'm sure I will splatter all over myself, because I always do when I make anything with tomatoes or tomato paste or whatever. I always end up wearing half of it. So that's what it looks like so far. And then we're going to add our can of white kidney beans or cannelli beans, or you can add red kidney beans, black beans, whatever you want. I did not rinse these or, you know, drain them or anything. I'm just going to add them right to the pot here. It's fine with me. If you don't like to do that, or you would rather rinse your beans, you go right ahead here. And now I'm going to add my 2 cans, 14.5-ounce cans of my chicken, collagen chicken broth. I did open up another carton back there. I'm going to probably have to add more chicken broth than I thought, because whenever I make soup, it always starts out very small, but it always ends up to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's what it looks like so far. And I'm just going to stir that up, and I think I am going to have to add a little bit more of the chicken broth than I thought. Oh, a little windy here, or a little shaky here. Ooh, yeah, okay, that's okay. I'll do that back here like that. I don't have this connected real well here, because I have to add my ground beef yet to this pot, and I have to add my well, I decided to put about 4 or 5 small potatoes in, these red potatoes. They're real small. I'm going to peel them and chop those up. So I have to add those yet. I have to add my 2 pounds of ground hamburger or ground beef, and I have to add my cabbage yet. So I'm going to need more liquid. And I was going to add my Gala garden rice blend. So I'm going to need a little bit more liquid than that. So I'm going to add a 32-ounce container of chicken broth. And like I said before, you can use beef broth, vegetable broth, which I normally would have used. If you don't have anything like that, just, you know, use some water. And you can do that too. And I'm just going to quickly add this, and if I have to add more water, hey, I will. You know, this is a soup. We're not making a stew, so you don't want it, you know, super thick here either. So that should be good for a little bit here, and I'm going to stir all this up. There, that looks a little better. Like I said, I might add a little bit of water, just because, like I said. And right now I'm going to add, oh, just a little, probably 2 teaspoons of salt for right now. I know that, you know, the tomatoes are salty also, so you don't want to add a bunch, but you don't want the soup to taste like, you know, nothing either. And then I'm going to add a whole bunch of pepper, and as much as my sore elbow will allow me to add. Let's put it that way. Ooh. I'm going to put this back, or put it on the stove. I haven't even started cooking it yet. And I'm going to bring it up to a boil, a real slow boil. And then I'm going to turn it down. And then I will add the ground beef and the potatoes, some of the rice blend, and the cabbage. But I'm going to, that should take about, a good hour. I'm going to let this cook a good hour, hour and a half, just to let all the flavors blend together in there really nicely. And then I'm going to add just a pinch here, about a tablespoon or a teaspoon or so of dried tarragon. And I'm just going to, like I said, bring this up to a boil and then let it simmer about an hour. And then I'm going to add the ground beef, the potatoes, and the cabbage, and this rice blend. So, and then go from there. But like I said, in the meantime, I will do my, brown my beef up, my ground beef, and peel my potatoes, chop those up and get those ready, and work on my cabbage, because like I said, I'm not going to need that whole thing. So, and I probably will add, in fact, I'm not going to say probably, I am going to be adding a little bit more water to this. Probably, a couple cups of water, because this is not going to be enough with the hamburger in it and everything else. So I will be doing that also, but I'll let you know how much I added. So I'm going to put this on the stove and bring this up to a boil, reduce the heat, bring it to a simmer, and in the meantime, I'm going to brown up my hamburger or my ground beef, whichever you want to call it, chop up my potatoes, and slice up my cabbage. And I'll show you what happens next. Hearty Hamburger Cabbage Soup, and it is made with just about everything you can think of. There's cabbage in here, carrots, not celery, but you can certainly add celery. Carrots, garlic, onion, tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, hamburger, Gala wild rice mix that has everything in it. That also, it has peas, lentils, that has celery in it, and different dried vegetables like the carrots and celery and things like that. And this has rutabaga in it, green peppers in it, just about everything. Half a head of big cabbage. It even has, oh, there it is. It even has cannelli beans in it. The spices I've kept relatively simple for this for right now. There's the rice mixture. Right down there, the wild rice, the tomatoes, rutabaga, carrots, green pepper, onions. I only use salt, pepper, a little bit of dried marjoram, or excuse me, dried tarragon, and then I used just a sprinkling of this seasoning mix, because I kind of felt it needed something. Ooh, there we go, and it's hot. This soup is really super hot, and I just added some of that on top, just to give it a little extra oomph. But so far, it looks delicious, it smells delicious, and I added extra chicken broth, and I also added at least, I would say a 32-ounce carton of water. Well, there goes my phone again. But this is how big of a pot I have on my stove. And this is the soup inside, and like I said, it looks really good. And I'm sure it's going to taste really good. I don't know why, but lately, the last time I made chili and this soup today, it got hot out. So, we'll eat it anyway because it does look really good. And it's actually very good for you too, with all the vegetables in there. So, I hope you have yourself a good day, and I will have the recipe in a link down below for this hearty cabbage hamburger soup. And I hope you give it a try on a cold day. Now is the perfect time to head on over to the farmer's market and pick yourself up some vegetables and make yourself some soup. It sure does smell good. I can't wait to have some. So we'll see you later. Have a good day. Bye-bye now.